Welcome back to New Day Cleveland. We are seeing our trees change color as we speak, and one of the most beautiful sights of the year is really all around us. But Ohio's forests aren't just beautiful in the fall. They are worth admiring year-round, and this guy would agree with me on that one. He's joining me with the reasons why. Adam Wolver is joining us from the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, ODNR. Thank you for being here today.
It's a pleasure to be back. Thank you.
You brought with you a cookie, I hear, but not the cookie that I was hoping for, but this is very interesting.
It is really interesting. It's we call it a tree cookie in the natural resources world. And this is from an old growth tree, an old growth forest located in Wayne County, just north of Orrville. Okay. It's called Johnson Woods State Nature Preserve. And I figured, why not come in, talk about trees? It's fall, you know, the leaves are changing color, and talk about some of the really cool, big, old trees that people can see in Ohio.
Well, and let me tell you, I guess that's just age or what, I don't know, but I find myself more and more looking at a tree and just being in awe of how gorgeous they are, especially those large ones that have been around for quite some time.
I agree. I've never seen anybody look at a big tree and not come away just awestruck.
Right.
And a lot of times when we think about big old trees, we think of the West Coast.
I was just going to say, we don't have to travel out there, though.
We don't. We can go right here in Ohio. We have actually, even though they're smaller parcels, we have a lot of old growth forests in Ohio. We have about 14 of our state nature preserves that are designated as old growth forests through the Old Growth Forest Network, which is a national organization. Yep. And so when you go to a place like this, you're going to find trees that range anywhere from 300 to 400 years old.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Now, how old was this tree? This tree, unfortunately, is no longer with us, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, we were fortunate to find this on the ground, fell down this spring.
Okay.
Okay. And so
we were looking at some pictures too, and I know we have this now in front of us. The pins, what do the pins mark?
So all the different, we had some fun back at the office, and all the staff kind of took turns counting the rings. So every year a tree puts on a new growth ring. I don't know if you can zoom in and see some of those rings, but by counting those rings, we can determine how old a tree is. They're come pretty close to it.
I feel like that's a very cumbersome job sometimes. I think I would have to start and stop over and over again.
There's a lot of starting and stopping.
I can't remember what number I was on.
But we counted them up. We used some other types of measurements, and we believe that this tree is at least 350 years old, possibly close to 400 years old. Wow. So if you look in here, you'll see that we think maybe that was about 1675 when this tree was just starting to sprout and take root. And what's fun about that is if you count out, different years, you can come up with some really interesting historical events. And so we have the Declaration of Independence signed in 1776, Gettysburg Address here, the Apollo moon landing. Wow. And then out here would be this year, right here on this little growth ring that we call the cambium, which is the part that's growing.
Okay, so like the dark line that you see.
Dark line. Okay. That's the part that's actually growing and making new rings every year. Okay.
Now, I see here it says sapwood and heartwood.
Yeah.
So what's the difference?
Well, the lighter colored wood is the sapwood. So that's still alive, and it's transporting water throughout the tree. When that dies over time, it turns into heartwood, which is the harder part of the tree that gives it structural support.
Now, what can we do as a society to continue to help places like this with trees to continue to flourish, or just? Are they doing it on their own and we just shouldn't go there and mess with them, basically?
Well, we've been fortunate. So in this instance, like at Johnson Woods State Nature Preserve, the people that owned it for 3 or 4 generations knew that it was an old growth forest, that these trees hadn't been touched, it hadn't been farmed. And so a lot of times people come to us with those and donate them, or we maybe purchase them or acquire them on our own. So just being aware of what you might have and educated about those trees is really important in working towards preserving them.
So we can walk through there to see all this firsthand?
I really recommend, especially in the fall, to visit this area. There's a 1.5 mile accessible boardwalk that goes through the entire preserve. You can see all these just massive trees. It's just a truly spectacular place.
And that's in Wayne County, you said?
That is in Wayne County, just north of Orrville in Wayne County.
So if they want to learn more, we have the website up right here.
We do, naturalareas.ohio.dnr.gov.
On the website, it'll kind of guide you
Go to our events. Yeah, you can find these locations on the website, but also look at our event calendar. So next year is America's 250. We're going to be celebrating that as well in Ohio at our state nature preserves and parks. And actually, Johnson Woods in April will have our sister division of forestry there to talk more about these old trees and just educate the public about them.
They're so amazing. And again, we don't have to travel out west to be able to see them. They're right in our backyard. Thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you so much again for having me.
Yeah, Torme needs those muscles to be able to carry this thing in and out of here. This is unbelievable. Thank you so much for being here. David, over to you.